I'm Ashlyn. I'm a storyboard artist on Harvey Beaks.
Hey Ashlyn, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. Did you like my new head that I made?
I love it.
I didn't actually.
You just lost your head at this
I just
video.
lost my head. So I'm going to be drawing for you guys today, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
What show do you work on?
I work on Harvey Beaks.
Cool.
So I guess I should just start by drawing Harvey, huh?
Yeah, that sounds good.
I like drawing Harvey because he's super easy, I think. You kind of just can draw like a really big circle. A lot of his face and features are very like cute, very circular. Sometimes you can make his head like huge. I'm a really big fan of super cute Harvey. It's like little shorts. Yeah. Harvey.
Fun.
Oh, thanks. Here, wait, I forgot his eyebrows. So no matter what position you draw Harvey in, as long as you start with like a really big head, you're pretty safe.
Nice.
So here he is sitting. Maybe we'll give him really big dewy eyes. It's like my other favorite thing to do. Look how cute he is. So silly.
That's adorable. Just a good guy.
Yeah, maybe he's sitting in flowers. I also really like Fee, because Fee also has like a really big head. So if you're drawing Fee, let's do red. Fee just has huge hair, which I can relate to because even though my hair is in a bun, I usually have hair as big as Fee's. Oh, definitely. So I started at Nickelodeon about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years. I've always been in animation. I went to college for animation. I have a degree in classical animation, which I think is really funny.
Cool. Where'd you go to school?
I went to Sheridan College in just outside of Toronto.
Cool.
So it was really cold. It was snowing. It would snow for like 6 months of the year. And so after I went to school for 4 years in Toronto, I moved out to LA because I wanted to be warm, finally. I worked at a bunch of different places to start, and then I finally landed at Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon's my first TV gig.
Cool. We're so happy to have you here.
Yeah, it's awesome. Let me see if I can draw Foo. Foo's a bit trickier. Foo is like a circle with these little like face wings. And then it's sort of funny. I feel like I always give Foo like slightly wall eyes. And like one tooth.
He's just, staring off into something.
Who is he staring at? No one knows. And then he has these like really cute pants.
High-waisted pants.
Super high-waisted pants.
Classic.
Yeah, I tend to like characters that are like a little silly. One of my favorite Nick shows growing up was SpongeBob, which is funny because Harvey's like really circular. And if you look at SpongeBob as a drawing, this is going to be the most off-model SpongeBob ever. So I hope...
Well, it's okay. You don't draw him every single day, all
I hope
day.
SpongeBob people aren't watching. Maybe I'll make SpongeBob super cute. But basically he is just like really square. Like I remember he has eyelashes. What if I put his mouth up here though? Sometimes it's fun when you're drawing characters to draw them sort of how they normally are. But like a little off.
That's fun.
Like this is like cute SpongeBob. This is like... I think he has a long nose though. That's almost right.
Yeah.
It's like a
Pretty close.
little baby child SpongeBob. So I've been at Nick for a little bit. Something else I do or really enjoy doing is I make picture books.
Ooh.
Little children, probably littler than who is watching the stream. But it's kind of similar to storyboarding. So with storyboarding, you're kind of drawing in a sequence. So usually when we start boards, we start by thumbnailing, and we might have Harvey This is my really little Harvey. So say Harvey is waving, and he says, hi. Really waving at us. Maybe he gets mad. So he's. So
wow,
this is our little, this is our like
from panel to panel.
really cute Harvey board. But Harvey's saying, Harvey says hi, and then Harvey says hey. So usually we start a board as simply as this. We don't even really think about backgrounds. But when I do like books, for example, it's pretty similar. I kind of people sometimes will ask me like, what do you prefer? And they're both such cool ways of telling stories. So with a book, for example, instead of having 3 panels over a period of like, telling a minute-long story, you would have 2 pages. So you might have Harvey. Who's like, oh, what's going on? And then in a picture book version, you would turn the page, and he would be like, hey, I got you a present. So they're both telling you something that's sort of happening with the character.
Yeah. Would you say each page is kind of like a storyboard panel?
Yeah, except a storyboard you have to do 1,000. And in a book you only have to do 32. But yeah, I like doing both. My second book just came out in February. It's called No No Gnome.
Fun.
It's about a little gnome who is very bad at gardening. And my first book was called Are We There, Yeti? And it's about a bunch of students who drive on a bus with this Yeti, who's like a really tall, here, I'll draw Yeti.
Yeah, draw us Yeti. And No No Gnome.
Yeah, the Yeti is like a marshmallow version of a gnome. So everything he has is like really soft.
That's cute. Way to stay on brand, Ashlyn.
I know. He's like just a little bit pudgy. Whereas gnome, it was tricky with gnome because gnomes often have beards. So how do you make a beard look like a little kid who's bad at gardening in school? But give him like a little bit of a tunic, a little bit of a hand, some little boots.
Fun. These are your OCs, right?
Yeah, my OCs.
Your OCs.
I was gonna say my favorite Harvey character, and I put him in every episode to the point that Carl started getting a little bit mad at me for jamming him in every episode. I love Jeremy. Jeremy is my favorite character. So if you guys don't know who Jeremy is, he's this like mushroom with this like furry nose, and then he's just like fur, like he's just like a blob. Like when you draw Jeremy, it's just like a big blob, some like arms, and then like little feet. But Jeremy's character is that he's always getting into like really bad situations. He's always just disappointed, completely out of luck.
Attracts a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Huh?
Like, I think we're all Jeremy. Like, really, if you wanted to make me into Jeremy, here, look. Give him glasses, give him curly hair, and it's me. I'm Jeremy. We're all...
That's a self-portrait right there.
Right? We're all Jeremy.
Oh, so deep.
So deep.
That's
so
great.
detailed.
That's great.
What else can I draw?
Who else is a
A favorite?
of yours? Yeah.
Well, I think what I like a lot about Harvey as a show is that each character really represents like a facet of something that we all struggle with. And so people, when they meet me, they're always like, oh, you're just like Piri Piri. You're kind of this loopy, crazy person who's very like creative and very wild.
And aloof.
And aloof. But I actually love Claire. Claire's character is all about She tries really, really hard. She has this older sister that she can't really live up to. You know, she has a crush on a boy who doesn't really like her back. And she's just somebody who really tries but doesn't always succeed. So, and I've done a few episodes with Claire in particular. You know, she's got these beautiful big ears. She has glasses. Which I have glasses. You know, she still almost always has a smile on, even though she's kind of sad. Sometimes she's not as like Eeyore as Kratz is. Like Kratz can be very, very down, and Claire is more. She tries a lot more, you know. I really respect Claire.
Wait, can you make Claire into you?
Oh, see, making Claire into me is really easy. Watch this.
Boom. Done.
It's me as Claire.
Ashlyn, do you have any advice for any aspiring storyboard artists at all?
Oh, yeah. I think that there's two parts to being a storyboard artist. Obviously, you need to be able to draw to a certain extent. You need to be able to draw, not necessarily the best, but you need to be able to draw fast. And you need to be able to draw clearly. With storyboards, it's all about how you're communicating information. You only have one panel to really tell, okay, this character, are they happy or are they sad? You know, when you draw Happy Harvey, it's a very different Harvey than when you're drawing, you know, maybe he's skipping around. Whereas if you draw a sad Harvey with a big drooping head, very, very sad arms.
Wow.
But you can
much
see
emotion in each of these drawings.
Oh, thank you. So neither of these are particularly good drawings, I would say, but they get the point across, which for storyboarding is what matters the most. So I think drawing is a part of it. I also think you need to have a good understanding of how to tell good stories, and you can do this by watching TV, you can do this by analyzing your favorite shows, you can also do this by seeing stories in a lot of other mediums. So I actually grew up reading a lot of books. We didn't really have much animation on TV. I grew up in Canada. Canada has a very rich history of independent animation and a lot of like very different shows than what are sometimes in America. But I grew up reading a lot of books. And I'd also say like you should live life a lot. A lot of younger storyboard artists come in and they are working on shows and they're great artists, but they don't really have the emotional experience to tell certain stories. And I think it's more like, you know, go out and do things that you like to do. If something weird happens to you, write it down. Tell a story about something weird that happened to you. If you have any memories that you remember feeling very strongly about as a kid, write them. Write about everything that happens in your life, and think about how you can tell that in a story that people would like to read.
That's great advice. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I think it's just a two-part thing. Like storyboarding is as much about boarding and drawing as it is about telling stories and telling good stories.
You gotta marry the both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned watching a lot of other shows and TV and all that stuff. When can people watch Harvey Beaks?
Ooh, you can watch Harvey Beaks every night this week. We actually have an episode that I worked on premiering tomorrow.
Nice.
I know. Look at me.
So you made the storyboards for
Big
one of the
weird.
episode this week?
Me and my partner Anna O'Brien, who is
Nice.
a wonderful board artist and a wonderful friend, we made a episode called Little Bark.
Cool. Can we see it by any chance?
Yes,
Nice.
fam, you asked. It's amazing. Let's look. It's prepared.
Oh, look. How
What if
handy.
it was just an oven and I pulled out a pie? So this is.
Luckily, it's the fantastic board
I
we're about
know.
to see.
I wish it was pie though.
Me too, actually.
So this is an example of a board that we would make for Harvey. We usually start quite rough. This is like the fully revised board. that we would ship overseas to have animated. You can see my name and Anna's name. Wow. Look at me. All the credits. So maybe I'll just hop right into this. So this is Little Bark.
The beginning of the episode?
Yeah, so I'll kind of pitch it how we normally would. We pitch all of our episodes in front of the entire crew, which is terrifying and fun. We have a great crew, so it's never too nerve-wracking. But we pitch them like this on the computer.
Cool.
So let's get into this. This is, it starts on Harvey's house, daytime, so Harvey's walking out. You can see him walking, stumbles across a can, and he picks it up. Picks up a leaf and walks out of frame, walks across frame again, sees a fork, picks that up, looks at it, walks out of frame, sees a leaf, steps on it, comes back, grabs it. Then we see all this junk on his table in Harvey's bedroom, pushes it aside, rolls out some paper towels, gets some paint, dips a rock in paint, glues on a googly eye, paints a little hair, whoop swoopy. Thinks about going for the safety scissors. Maybe the big scissors.
Whoa.
No, has to go back to the safety scissors. Starts cutting. It's just a little montage of him creating a tiny doll version of himself.
Wow.
Picks it up, puts it back down, and then you see all these other dolls appearing. So this is actually an episode clearly about voodoo dolls in some fashion. And then we see that he's in front of all of these little dolls, and he says, "Now that you've been born, what should we do? Any ideas? Little Jeremy," see Jeremy, we love Jeremy. "Oh, well, I don't know." "It's cool, man. How about you, Techno Bear?" "You dog. I think we should drop the bass, dog." And he's like, "Oh," and they're all watching. He's like, "A party sounds delightful." He's like, Harvey, can I be the DJ?" "Of course you can, bud." And then he's like, boop, puts little sunglasses on, presses a little boom box, and then you hear the Roddy Box song, and then he's playing with the toys. He's like, "Go DJ Dade!" And we pull out. We see all of Dade's siblings go by, and then Dade's running. He says, "Come back with my underpants! You monsters, I only have one!" Like, "Oh wow, it's sunny out here." Then he puts on sunglasses just like the doll does. He's like, "That's better." He's like, "Oh, is that rock and roll? That's music for demons." "It's kind of catchy though." He's like, "There's no one looking." So then he starts dancing. So I boarded like a little dance cycle. Thank you.
Nice.
That's actually just how I dance. A lot of times we have to take what we can from real life.
Can you show us how you drew upon real life? Wow. Impressive.
So I actually did that. This is 100% real life. I would do that in my office and then draw out poses.
Dedication.
Dedication. And then they pan back and you see that Harvey notices that the doll is doing the same dance as Dave.
Whoa.
He's like, "Whoa." Then we see some forest scenes. He's running, he's pulling. "What do you want us to see again?" He's like, "Oh, I like it when we all hold hands." Then they're all running. He's like, "Listen, nobody else can know about what I'm about to show you." He runs off and he's like, "Look." And they're like, "Whoa." They're like little bug people. And he's like, "Close. It's a miniature recreation of all the citizens of Little Bark Grove. I made little dolls of everyone. See? Here's you guys." Look how cute they are.
So cute. That's a good drawing.
Anna did that drawing so good. And he's like, "Here's Rooter, Piri. They like to be next to each other. I even made this guy." "Who's that?" I don't really know. But I see him in the background sometimes.
Nice. That's a cool episode.
It's cool. I hope you guys check it out. It's tomorrow. Tomorrow night at 5:30.
Awesome.
p.m., not a.m.
PM.
That's why it would be in the evening, not in the morning.
Right.
I
On
know my
the
times.
Nickelodeon channel, right?
Yeah, on the Nickelodeon channel.
Nice.
Do we have time for one more thing? Can I paint a thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
What do you want to do? You want to paint something?
Yeah.
What?
So I sometimes draw with Sharpies on paper. But after a while, the fumes become unbearable.
Right.
So I thought I brought a little watercolor pad. And
Ooh.
I brought some paints. Ooh, look how messy they are. I thought we would draw somebody, but I wonder who we should draw. Maybe we'll draw Fee and Foo
Okay.
together. Well, I guess we'll see if I can just sketch a little bit with blue. I'm going to try to talk while I'm doing this, but we'll see how good I am at it.
Wow, you're like speed painting.
What if I was just drawing like more pie? Okay, let's change Fee's head direction. Alright, so I was just sketching. Now I'm going to ink this with Sharpie, so we'll be a bit more careful at this stage. Don't want to make any mistakes. So you can paint in a lot of ways. I actually often will do the colors before I do the final line. But because people are watching,
Switching things up.
yeah, I'll just do inks first. That way we can be sure it's going to be good. Or better. Good is a tall order.
I'm sure it's gonna be great. It's already looking super cute. Ah, brother and sister. What do you like best about Fee and Foo?
I think one of the things I really like is that their relationship as brother and sister is really quite sweet, you know. They do fight and they like to punch each other, obviously. But they do really care about each other, which I think I can relate to a lot. I grew up with two older brothers. And Fee is a really good older sister, but even though me and my brothers never really got along, or we didn't get along when we were kids, when we were older, we really liked each other, and we did get along. So it's nice to see, you know, a lot of movies and TV shows show siblings that don't really get along, but you know, all siblings have a bond that you can't really get rid of, you know.
Yeah.
No matter how, yeah. Like, I think the big thing with brothers and sisters is, like, you don't care if you punch your brother, but I hope nobody else does, you know? Very much, like, antagonistic.
I'm the only one that gets punched more.
Yeah, right? Alright, so what I'm doing now...
That's such a cool brush that you're using, too.
Oh, thanks. This is a water brush. So instead of having to carry water around with me everywhere, which can be annoying... Also, water used to spill in my bag all the time. I got this brush which has water built into it, so there's like a reservoir of water in here. And when you're using watercolors, you can just kind of grab the colors. Now let's do Foo. I think Foo is quite yellow. Let me see if I can see what my colors are. Yeah, actually, it's hard. Foo is a hard orange to get. I'm gonna use a little bit. So I'm using this like dark orange and yellow, and then this is like a mustard. So maybe we'll just test this and see.
That's pretty accurate.
The other thing with watercolors, I find, is that you really have to let things dry between layers a little bit so you can layer them on top of each other. If you get too aggressive right away, you end up regretting it. So it's good to play it safe.
Somebody's wondering what the name of the pen that you're using is.
Oh, if you just look for water brush, you'll probably find them. There's a couple different brands. I think this one is a Pentel one, but they have different thicknesses of brush. So this is quite fine.
Yeah.
And this is quite a small sketchbook. So I like having the finer tip. All right, let's see. Let's give a little shadow under here. You can use a real palette, but I think if you're just sketching, it's kind of nice to not have to worry about it and just keep it all on the pad of paper. Maybe we'll give them some leaves and stuff around here too.
Lots of things happen in the forest, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a show with beautiful backgrounds.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful like scenery, and I grew up very close to the woods. I grew up in Vancouver, and my dad used to instead of driving us all the way to school, he would force us to walk 20 minutes through the woods. He would like drop us off just in this park outside of the school. So I spent a lot of time in the woods as a kid. I don't think you've really lived until you've stepped barefoot onto a banana slug.
Do you think that upbringing really helps you with this show, since so much of it takes place in the woods?
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of goes back to what you were saying about drawing from real life experiences.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of this show that really reminds me of my childhood, and I think like I was quite an introspective child, and I'm an introspective adult, and so if you take the time to really think about experiences in your life, they can only help you later when you tell stories. So yeah, like when I was a kid, we would just walk through the woods, and we would always, when we were really curious, we would always kind of go off the path and just wander off somewhere. And you would find these places that were like really magical. Like it would be like where a log had just fallen down and there was a tree growing out of the log. And there's a lot of that in Harvey, like a lot of those like magic moments that just kind of
happen when you step off the beaten path.
Yeah, and happen when you allow yourself to take the time to go and find them. All right, let me see. So now this is kind of like we're getting close to being done, but let's make this a little. The thing with watercolors, if you don't layer them, it can look a little flat. So we're gonna go in and find some places where we can add a little bit more depth. I'm a big fan of characters having a lot of blush.
Rosy cheeks.
Yeah, super rosy cheeks. I always think it's funny how like stoked Fu is about everything in his life. You know?
Lives life to the fullest. Or the fooest.
Oh, get out of my office. Get out. I'm kidding. You're allowed in my office.
I can't.
That's like one of the
Camera. I can't leave.
So here's a funny thing about Harvey is like I make a lot of puns, and Carl, who runs our show, is he's very good at puns, but it also makes him like
Go for it.
So yeah, Harvey, when we're working on Harvey, sometimes I'll pitch a pun in our boards, and Carl just gets so upset. Like he'll wince, like he'll make this face that's like, and I'm like, Carl, it's a joke, like it's a good joke. please just let me keep this joke in this episode. And, I don't know. Sometimes...
Does it end up staying in there?
Yeah, sometimes. A lot of the times. But it just
You
goes...
guys love your puns around here.
I know, it's so awful.
It's a punny crew.
Well, let's see if we can get a bit of a BG going now. We'll just put some blue to cover up this.
It's amazing that you were able to whip this up in like 5 minutes.
Oh, thanks. I like painting. I think if you painting can be as spontaneous as drawing. A lot of people think like, oh, if I'm painting, it needs to be perfect. And with painting, it's sometimes when you go fast and you try something new, you get really fun, happy accidents.
Mm.
Maybe we'll put some little bugs here too. Little buggies. One thing you should never do is lay your hand on your painting that you just finished. It's all good.
It's fun. Wow. Look at that. Great job, Ashlyn.
Oh, thank you.
This has been such a pleasure. Thanks so much for telling us so much about yourself and taking the time to meet with our fans.
Yeah, I hope it was interesting. Let me know if you have any more questions about life.
Yeah, we'll make sure that we put up your social handles after this so people can find you and follow you.
Stop by, say hi, ask
Yeah.
a question, ask no questions, leave a comment, tell me about your cat. I would love that.
When does your book come out?
Oh, I have a third book coming out sometime in 2018, maybe. But if you want my first two books, you can find them any bookstore, Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, any of your local indies. Highly recommend supporting your local indies. Just look up my name, and they'll be there.
Cool. And when can we watch Harvey Beaks and see more of Fee and Foo?
Well, every night tonight. Premieres, I think, are at 5:30 p.m. Eastern and Pacific time.
Nice.
I had to think about the different time zones, but it's 5:30 in both.
It's important to
So
remember.
please
all
do,
of those.
and check out Little Bark tomorrow night. And
We'll be able to see your episode.
oh
on the
goodness.
board. Cool.
Oh, and you can also see stuff at nick.com,
Nice.
which is a website. You can find it on your computer. That's where websites are.
Well, thank you so much, Ashlyn. You've been awesome.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see
Bye.
ya. Bye.